The Golden Age Era, 1982 to 1993. This was the era that put wrestling on television. It was loud, colorful, and big. Vince McMahon turned it into a spectacle. In 1985, he introduced WrestleMania, a crossover between wrestling, celebrities, and mainstream media. It worked, and at the center of it was Hulk Hogan. Hogan wasn't just a star, he was the company. He represented strength, patriotism, and charisma. Kids wore his shirts, adults paid to see him win. He didn't just dominate the ring, he dominated the business. This was the rise of Hulkamania. WWF built everything around Hogan: storylines, merchandise, promotions. And it paid off. The company expanded nationally. Pay-per-view sales exploded. Wrestling was no longer regional, it was global, and Hulk Hogan was its face. But even golden ages don't last forever. By 1993, Hogan left for WCW, and the cracks began to show. The New Generation Era, 1993 to 1997. This era started after Hogan's departure. It was the beginning of the company's decline. WWF was no longer riding high. It was under scrutiny. In 1991, steroid allegations surfaced, accusations that wrestlers were being enhanced unnaturally. In 1991, Vince McMahon stood trial. He was acquitted, but the damage was done. WWF changed direction. No more muscle-bound giants. They shifted to leaner, more athletic performers. Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, The Undertaker. They had talent, they had respect, but they didn't have Hogan's drawing power. Ratings slipped, WCW was rising, led by stars like Hogan, Sting, and Ric Flair. In 1995, WCW launched Monday Nitro. It beat Raw in ratings for 84 straight weeks. WWF was bleeding. Viewership dropped. Morale dropped. This was the darkest period for the company. The new generation couldn't hold the audience. WWF needed a new identity. The Attitude Era, 1997 to 2002. This was the turning point, the rebirth, the fight back. WWF changed everything: its tone, its style, its stars. No more clean-cut heroes. Now it was violence, profanity, and anti-heroes. The audience came back. So did the ratings. Stone Cold Steve Austin led the charge. He wasn't a role model. He was angry, loud, and unpredictable. Fans loved him. His feud with Vince McMahon defined the era. It blurred the lines between story and reality. Then came The Rock, charismatic, sharp, electrifying. He was the future, and the future was now. This era had blood, chaos, and unforgettable moments. Mick Foley falling off Hell in a Cell, DX breaking rules live on television, Austin spraying beer on Vince. The numbers were massive. In 1999, over 6 million people watched every week. Wrestling was mainstream again. WWF was winning the war. In 2001, they bought WCW. The competition was over. They stood alone. And with dominance came the next chapter. The Ruthless Aggression Era, 2002 to 2008. The Attitude Era ended, but WWF, now branded as WWE, kept evolving. They introduced new stars. They called it Ruthless Aggression. It was a mix of old school toughness and modern wrestling. John Cena debuted, so did Randy Orton, Batista, and Brock Lesnar. A new generation with the same ambition. Creatively, it was strong. SmackDown became must-watch. Paul Heyman was writing it, and it showed. Chris Benoit, Kurt Angle, Rey Mysterio, they were smaller, but technical, precise. They elevated the craft. Eddie Guerrero became a world champion. Edge reinvented himself. Feuds got personal. Triple H versus Shawn Michaels, Rock versus Austin, one last time. Product-wise, the company was stable. It didn't hit the Attitude Era peaks, but it kept people watching. It was a transition era. Old names were leaving, new ones were rising. WWE was no longer edgy, but it was consistent, and it was preparing for the next evolution. PG Era, 2008 to 2011. This was the time WWE decided to go with the family-friendly content and also got the PG rating. WWE decided to drop violence and sexual content. Now the main focus of WWE was to make some more profit with the PG rating. The number of advertisers also increased. In this era, John Cena was the leader of the WWE locker room. WWE built John Cena's character so strong that it seemed to be impossible to defeat him. Week after week, Cena used to give phenomenal matches. Some of the great feuds during this era were the feud between The Undertaker with Shawn Michaels and John Cena with Edge. Reality era, 2011 to 2016. This was the time when fans wanted to see more than just wrestling. Fans were more interested in the storyline than wrestling. This era also came up to be good for the WWE. It was the era where fans could easily relate themselves to WWE stars. Independent superstars like CM Punk and Daniel Bryan became so popular, it motivated other independent wrestlers who wanted to be part of WWE without any background support in WWE. The storyline of Daniel Bryan toward the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania 30 was considered to be the greatest storyline over the decades. The most shocking moment of The Undertaker's streak getting conquered by the Beast Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 30 also took place during this era. John Cena's US Open Challenge raises the level of WWE weekly shows. And at last, the debut of one of the most dominating factions, The Shield, which became to be a great success. WWE not only gave fans new products in the storyline, but also in online media. WWE launched its digital video streaming service, WWE Network. This was the revolution in the wrestling world. No other wrestling promotions had initiated such digital television network services. The new era, 2016 to present. The new era began in 2016. WWE shifted its focus. Less on spectacle, more on in-ring skill. Matches became cleaner, fewer botches, more professionalism. The roster was loaded. AJ Styles, Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, Brock Lesnar, John Cena, Roman Reigns emerged as the long-term centerpiece. Triple H took over development. He made NXT a pipeline, a form of serious talent. Bayley, Sasha Banks, Finn Balor, Sami Zayn, and others were called up. They raised the bar. The brand split returned. Raw and SmackDown were separated again. SmackDown improved drastically. Some fans even preferred it. The women's division changed. They started headlining pay-per-views. No longer treated as filler, now a core part of the product. By the late 2010s, Cena was part-time. Lesnar became a special attraction. Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and AJ Styles carried the torch. They delivered consistently. In 2024, WrestleMania 41 ended a chapter. What followed became a reset. On Raw, Roxanne Perez debuted. She interrupted IYO Sky's match. Stephanie McCoy had the spotlight. Jolie appeared. The women's division was reshaping. On SmackDown, Faxium arrived. A tag team with speed and charisma. The crowd noticed. Braun Breaker aligned with Seth Rollins. They became a Paul Heyman guy. He wasn't just next in line, he was being positioned now. Rusev returned, and so did Aleister Black. They added depth and surprise. Becky Lynch remained, so did other veterans, but now they were guiding, letting the new wave rise. Zelina Vega made her history. She became the first United States Women's Champion, a title, a statement. WWE was recognizing overlooked talent. The TV-14 era, 2022 to present. In July 2022, news broke. The USA Network sent a memo. WWE might shift to TV-14. Fans exploded. Attitude Era trended worldwide. They wanted blood, swearing, violence, chaos. But Vince McMahon retired. Triple H took over creatively. Expectations changed. He kept it PG. No major content shift. But the writing improved. The pacing sharpened. The matches became tighter. Triple H focused on logic. He built long-term arcs. Less shock, more structure. In January 2025, WWE made history. Netflix signed a $5 billion deal. Raw began streaming globally. First episode, 4.9 million views worldwide, 2.6 million in the US. Crowd audio was auto-edited. Swearing got censored. Some fans noticed. Some debated. Still, the product felt fresh. Triple H was praised. He had brought consistency. The Rock appeared occasionally. He pushed limits. Mild blood, occasional profanity, but only when the story needed it. The PG tone remained, but it was smarter, sharper, more layered. WWE now calls this bigger than the Attitude Era. They call it the Netflix era. PG rules stayed, but the ceiling lifted. WWE leaned into mature storytelling, not shock, not nostalgia, discipline. That's what defined this era. It wasn't about going back, it was about moving forward. Carefully, deliberately, and without apology.